everybody, and welcome to my channel. Typically, this is where I would show you my new fan videos, or beauty videos, or other things. Usually my fan videos are for my soap opera couple, Hope and Liam from The Bold and the Beautiful. And I run a fan page for Hope and Liam on Facebook, and all that kind of stuff. I'm really into my soap operas. And today I really gave it a lot of thought, and I get really angry when I talk about my soaps. The two that I watch now, I was watching 4, but now I'm down to Young and the Restless and Bold and the Beautiful. Bold and the Beautiful, I admit I really haven't been watching closely, even though I have the Facebook page and everything. Since Hope left in December, it's been really hard for me to want to watch. But anyways, so I decided that I wanted to make this little rant vlog a couple times a month, once a week, type deal. Bold and Restless Rantings. And this is obviously episode 1. And I just wanted to point out before anything else that these are just my opinions. I feel very adamantly about characters and storylines. You can't take anything I say very seriously. Don't get offended by it. I realize that my opinions aren't going to be the same as your opinions, but I get a little crazy when I talk about my stories. So, but I figured this will be fun. It'll start a monologue going. We can all kind of discuss. It'll be fun, and I'll get to vent. Later, if you guys like this, I may bring on, different special guests to talk about it with me and that kind of stuff. We'll see where this goes, but for now, this is kind of just an experiment. So, without further ado, here is my Bold and Restless Rantings, episode 1. Okay, so first, I just want to dive right into Young and the Restless. The biggest thing that got me thinking about starting this vlog is Nick and Sharon and the custody case. And I know that it's not popular opinion, but I feel bad for Sharon. And the thing that just infuriates me the most is that Nick is sitting there pointing his finger at her like he's innocent. Excuse me, does anybody else remember all the stuff that he did to her? She has not been on this downward spiral for no other reason than him. He did this to her. She was perfectly fine and perfectly normal until he went and cheated on her. They lost a child, and instead of turning to her for comfort, he turned to another woman and made a baby out of wedlock to her. And then he wants to sit there after she's made mistakes because of her, outrage and because of her, he made mistakes because he was, quote, sad and dealing with things and dealing with the loss of his daughter. So all of his mistakes were perfectly valid, but when she's sad and depressed over stuff, oh no validation for Sharon. I'm not saying Sharon is perfect, in no means, but they have both made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes, and it really infuriates me that he could sit across that courtroom and take custody off of her when he's done some pretty shitty things himself. And I mean, can we talk about the Newmans for 2 seconds and the fact that they never ever pay for anything that they do wrong? They always feel better and superior to everyone else. And it's like, please, get over yourself. Seriously. And speaking of the Newmans, a little off subject, but I've been really thinking about Nikki's alcoholism. And I think it's pretty shitty of Victor, knowing that his wife is a recovering alcoholic, to keep a whole frickin' bar in the house. Why would you tempt your recovering alcoholic wife with alcohol? Like, who does that? Any recovering alcoholic I've ever heard of or known, I mean, you keep that stuff away from yourself. You don't just set it right next to her and say, here you go, I'm gonna have this, you can watch. I mean, how insensitive of Victor. I mean, really. But of course, in true Victor fashion, he thinks that's perfectly fine. I mean, I'm outraged by this. I think it's ridiculous. The other Newman I really want to discuss today is Summer. That girl gets on my nerves. Every scene is the same deal. She's whining, she's complaining, she's crying, she's upset. Woe's me. Everyone hates me. I have 2 families that love me. My life's so terrible. I can't deal with her woeing anymore. It's ridiculous. Get off the screen. If I taped this show, I'd fast forward through the scene and I would make up my own dialogue. I wouldn't need to watch it because it's the same shit every scene she's in. Her dialogue is the same shit over and over and over and over. She's like a broken record. I'm tired of her shit. Tired. Like, really. Another thing I really wanted to complain about in this episode is the whole Phyllis and Jack thing. I feel like it was really douchey of Phyllis to be mad at Jack for dating somebody in her year she was in a coma. I personally can't say how I would feel about it because obviously the situation hasn't happened to me. But I just kind of feel like she should not put so much pressure on Jack to be perfect. It's not like he didn't give an ample amount of time. I mean, I guess it's all a matter of how much time each individual person would consider enough time before saying, okay, it's okay to move on. I mean, there seemed like there was absolutely no hope for her. It's not like Jack thought... If he thought there was a glimmer of hope, Jack is a good man. He has a big heart, and I don't think he would just turn his back on her if there was any hope. And it had been close to a year before he started dating Kelly. I mean, I just don't feel like he should be held accountable for that. Just my opinion. I guess Phyllis doesn't agree with that very much, so. But yeah. The other little trio that's been really pissing me off the last few months is Hillary and Devon and his father. Why is that name just Neil? That's it, Neil. I had a little brain fart there, but now I'm back. I mean, really think about this in Neil's perspective. I mean, even Devon's perspective. He adopted you. You were in a bad home. He took you in. He raised you. He's loved you like he was, like you were his own flesh and blood. And you fall in love with his wife? How do you not feel guilty? Don't you think you would have tried more not to fall in love with her? I mean, out of respect for your father, out of respect for your family, I just don't understand. Oh, and to put Kane in that situation where he has to lie to his wife. I mean, he's not ruining one marriage. He's asking to ruin 2 at this point. Because the second Lily finds out that he was keeping that from her, you know damn well that there's going to be a huge problem in their relationship for that. She ain't just going to let that go. Come on. Like, why would you do that to your sister's marriage? On top of doing that to your father's marriage. What is wrong with him? Seriously. And the kid needs to grow some balls and man up and tell his father. Quit messing around and beating around the bush. Just do it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of almost telling him. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of that. Then he walks in, and now he's just going to pretend like that he can't see, and he doesn't know what's going on. Oh, this is going to be pretty interesting the next couple of days to see how this pans out. I mean, don't you think him seeing he would want to jump to the rooftops and say? And then he pulls Devon in and asks him stuff. How can you contain yourself? If I was Neil, I would want to shake him and say, I saw you sleeping with my wife. I mean, who could keep that to themselves? He has way more restraint than I would ever have. I'm just saying. And I know that I'm off the subject of Phyllis, but I just want to bring it back up for 2 seconds because it can't be more abundantly clear that Victor is taking Phyllis into his house, not out of the kindness of his heart, but literally just to stick it to Jack on something else. I mean, he's just being a jerk. I mean, it's just Victor being Victor. But yeah, Christine really infuriates me because, I mean, she's pregnant. She shouldn't be as stressed as she is. But she's like crazy obsession with Phyllis. And I get that Phyllis tried to kill her. And I get that. And I get why she's angry and everything. But it's been 20 years. And I don't like Phyllis at all. But let it go. I mean, that's all she does. She's like Summer. All she does is whine. Every scene she's in, all she does is whine about Phyllis. Oh, woe's me. I hate Phyllis. I hate Phyllis. I hate Phyllis. Just stop. Stop. Really, that's about all I want to talk about. You know, my predictions, obviously, I mean, it's clearly written, clear as day, that something's going to happen with the foundation in Nick's bar, because they're not having all this storyline for nothing about the guy coming in, the contractor guy, or the whatever, saying that, you know, the foundation is bad, and you need to have it fixed, or we're going to close you down. And I saw a big Deadly Thing advertisement for Valentine's Day for Young and the Restless, so I'm clearly assuming that something is going to happen with the foundation, and some people are going to get trapped in there. So we'll see. But, you know, things are getting really juicy and interesting on there with Neil finding out about his son and his wife, and, you know, the idea of Lily and Kane having that little rift, and, you know, it's just really fascinating. I also want to point out, and I'm sorry, I know that, you know, Avery doesn't think she's leading on Joe, but she wants to have sex with him. I'm just saying. You could just see it. Anyways, but that's all Wine Art Talk for now. That's all I have. I'm going to go catch up and make some notes on my Bold and the Beautiful, and I'll be back with talk about that show. See you guys in a minute.